What's going on, fellow humans and resellers? It is I, James, and Courtney. RedoptionAgency.com. 23 years selling full-time on eBay. And we are Thursday? Yes, Thursday morning. And eBay has really screwed this week up. But before we get into that, I'm going to talk about, there was a question on YouTube about how to stay positive, how to stay motivated when eBay screws up their website, basically. When there are no sales coming in is what was stated. So I'm going to get into that. But before I get into the positive stuff, I'm going to get into the bitchy stuff. So I looked at my media store. Last week, average of the media store alone was over $500 a day. This week, we're down to $300 because of whatever eBay did on Sunday night that has totally jacked up their whole website. If you've been following, you know all the problems that's been going on this week. It's just one after another, after another, after another. Just consistent problems. And I'll say this, when months ago, years ago, when I kept saying eBay's taking $200 a day from me because of issues, well, here's proof here. Last week, the difference between last week and this week, $200 just in my one store because of the changes they made that has screwed up their website. So if you don't think, if you're at this point still don't think eBay's robbing us of money, you may want to think again, because I can tell you 100% what eBay is doing is robbing us sellers of money. 100%. No ifs, ands, or buts. This is going to be a very confident video. Very confident, 100%, because I'm just annoyed by it. I'm tired of it, and it's been going on for way too damn long. That us sellers have been getting just no respect, no care, walked on, stolen from because of this bullshit. So, I'm going to see what I did yesterday. All right, so this is the clothing store. So on the clothing store, remember last week's average was $922 a day. So we got $288 on the clothing store. On the media, was there any international sales? No international sites. So not much better over here, 305. So instead of $922 average per day, so that's $400 difference right there. Sorry, more like 3. A little over 3. But it's just stupid, the stuff we have to put up with that is hurting so many people. Not necessarily, is it hurting me? No. Is it annoying me? Yes. Could it become a problem? That's what I fear. Is it a huge problem for many, many others? Yes. Can you even start selling on eBay in 2025? You can. It's just going to be a hell of a lot harder. Yeah, so annoying. Let me see what the average this week so far is for the first 3 days. See how we compare with the 922. 984.71. Oh, did I click off? Oh, yes, I did. Oh, I didn't click on it. That's right. Courtney. My clothing store has actually done more in the last 3 days than my media store has. So my media stores took the biggest hit. And that's the reasoning why I opened a second store. Because that store, that account was being affected a lot greater than this new store when it comes to the problems that eBay causes. Why is that? It's bigger, it's got more than double the items, yet it's hit harder. It affects it more. And is that because it's a 23-year-old account? My guess would be yes. Astronaut theorists say yes. So 922 last week. So far this week, 669. So say 250 a day difference so far. First 3 days. So there's that $200 that I tell you eBay robs us, or at least robs me of, because of the problems on the website. Of course, another shutdown last night. It was crap. This morning we were at 8:15. Hopefully today hopefully they fixed the stuff last night. I mean, we can only hope. We got 79 in the media store. And we got 53 in the clothing store. So 132 at 8:15. That's not bad, even with the huge shutdown overnight. Nothing came through for several hours, 7-8 hours. So yeah, I just hope that the clothing store, you can tell it goes here, 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 you know. So it went from this pattern to daily changes like that. It's been that way since March 29th. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. It's just the stack has gotten lower this past week. Where, if you remember my videos, they were going like this. So something changed on the Thursday night update, March 27th. Because up until then, I had that flow. And then that Friday after was my lowest day in months at only $134. And then after that day, it jumped up to 500 in the store and then started the up, down, up, down, up, down. So this pattern right here, this is one of those things that I'm gonna actually show you guys on this one, because these are the things that I look for that make me go, something's going on. There's you a straight on view of it. You see at the beginning, you have that flow, and I had talked about, and you probably saw on some of my screen share videos. And then on March 27th, right here, that Thursday when they do updates on Thursday nights, did something that dropped Friday to my lowest in probably months. And then it started the up, down, up, down, up, down. So those patterns say something. Those are not normal selling patterns. They're not. Those patterns are controlled by something, whether that's problems with the website, the way the algorithm works, whatever. Those patterns are controlled. Because if you look at my media store, it was going like that at first too. And then something changed for there on like March 19th. And then it just started being more random like a normal eBay store is. So there's no pattern over here now, except days are almost equal, then they'll have a jump, then almost equal, and then kind of now they're dropping down almost equal. So this is more of what it looks like, even though this store is affected more by the problems when it comes to lack of sales not coming through. But those patterns are not natural patterns. But hey, what do I know? I've only been doing this 23 years. I don't know nothing. No, this is a confident video, James. You know everything. Damn it. All right, let's do some shipping and get past this, because as you know, I don't like any more harping on this stuff. It's just more of pointing it out and throwing it out there in hopes that, well, first and foremost, that you're not alone. There are things going on. My accounts will show it because it's bigger, and hopefully somebody will come along who works with eBay and go, will wake up. That's a very, 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 very long shot, but it's a reasoning. And plus, it gets it off my chest so I can move forward. James, question, how do you stay positive and motivated listing on eBay, selling on eBay? That's one thing. If I have a problem, if I have a grievance, if I have I voice it, get it out of my system, because if you don't, it's just going to bounce around in your head. And that's pretty much with anything in life. If you don't let it out, it'll fester and it'll eat you away. It'll eat you up. If you've been watching my videos for the past few years, you saw how it would eat people. It would eat me up. At the time, I was trying to figure it out. At the time, I was trying this, trying that, because you always question yourself first and foremost. Am I the problem? Is something I'm doing the problem, right? So those years when I'm complaining about it and I see all these things and I see this pattern, I see the server failures, I see this, I'm still asking myself, is it something I'm doing? So as you know, I always tried this, tried that, changed this, changed that, played with the percentages, played with, I mean, if you watch those videos, I was all over the place. I tried everything and nothing worked. Nothing worked. So it was hard at the time to be positive about it because I was trying to figure it out. When you're trying to figure it out, that's when it consumes you. If you can't just let it go, can't find a way to move on. The same as with if you have no sales coming in. It will eat you up. It will consume you. But also, I don't see your account, so I don't know. When somebody says, I got 600 items and I haven't sold nothing for a week, I can't comment on that. I don't know what you're selling. I don't know if they're overpriced. You know, I didn't do the listing of those items. Did you comp them properly? Are you playing the lowest? Are you trying to shoot for the stars and hope that you make more money by overpricing things? I don't know what, I don't know what's going on with your situation to be able to compare it to anything. I can't compare it to anything because I know nothing about it. All I know is what I do, what I see, and what the efforts and stuff that I put in, and how I do them, and how I price my items and everything. Plus the history to back it up. So the first thing I had to do in order to keep moving forward is to figure out if it was me, which I spent years trying to figure out what the problem was. So that would be your first step. Figure out if the fact that you're getting no sales, if there's anything on your end that is causing it. It may not be the whole reason, but is there anything on your end that could be attributing to it? That's the first thing you need to ask. And that's the first thing you need to try to figure out. And when you're trying to figure out a solution, scratch that. When you come up with a plan, then that's very motivating. So if you look at all your stuff, if you have to start looking at your items and rechecking the value and see if you're overpriced on things, do that. If you have to come up with a plan and say, I'm putting everything in my store 40% off, 30% off, whatever, come up with a plan of action that's going to kind of maybe eliminate one of the factors, two of the factors that you may be causing or putting up on yourself. Not listing enough, not pricing properly. If you have low sell-through rate stuff, you've got to have more of it and or find better sell-through rate stuff. You've got to figure that out first, and that may not be apparent or easy for a lot of newish sellers. Like I said before, if you're selling the stuff that I'm selling and you only have 200 items up, 600 items up, 2,000 items up, you're probably going to go a week without any sales. That's just a fact. It's slow sell-through rate stuff. And that's why I always say, when I've talked about it before, I wouldn't recommend you buying this or buying that unless you're doing the volume game. We have this women's Cardinals hoodie, sold for $7.50. That hat, Good Vibes hat, sold for $10.50, headed to Washington. Got the Cardinal hoodie, sold for $7.50, headed to Pennsylvania. So first you have to eliminate yourself from the equation, from the problem. Try things. Go back. If you're newer to my channel, go back and watch the last couple years where I was trying this, trying that. Maybe it'll give you ideas to try with your account. Also, too, if you're only promoting at 2%, well, there's a good reason you're probably not getting any sales also. Because eBay is a play, whether you like it or not. You can't let emotions get into business, right? If you want a business, you want to work for yourself, you can get upset about something, but you got to figure it out. Because if you don't, it's going to take you down. Emotions and business do not mix. That was actually something I came up with. I didn't come up with it, but yesterday, I'm watching some of the interview between Mark Cuban and what's his name? Smith. What's his name? I don't remember. Damn, what's his name? Anyway. So I'm watching Mark Cuban in this video, and it started reminding me of him on Shark Tank. When he was, if he was being critical of something or whatever. And I started remembering on Shark Tank, I'm like, my thought came, okay, would I vote for Mark Cuban? He's a businessman, of course. If he's running, I'm probably going to vote for him if there's no other business people in there. If it's only politicians and Mark Cuban, I'm going to vote for Mark Cuban, right? But then I started thinking, I'm like if there was another business person, which one would I vote for? What are Mark Cuban's flaws that I think I see? And one of Mark Cuban's flaws is he seems to make decisions based on emotions. When you're watching Shark Tank, he's the one that gets he's the one that, when you watch him, he goes up and down more than anybody else on that panel. Everybody else on that panel, they'll get a little excited about something, but if he don't like something, his emotions go high. If he really likes something, his emotions go high. He overpays for something, whatever the case may be. So that's not good in business. So, yeah, he's a billionaire, I know, but it's still not good in business. So if that's his one and only flaw, what is the other candidate, business person who might be running for president type of thing? Find out what their flaw would be and measure the flaws type of thing, right? Emotions just don't work. So if you're not happy with eBay because, man, I've got to promote at this percentage in order to make any sales, well, that just means you have to if you want a business. So you got to figure it out. So that means buy stuff cheaper. Don't be, realize that you're going to have to give more to make more now, or give more to make less than you did 5 years ago, 6 years ago. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that part of it. So having emotion over it, it's just going to sink you, and it's not going to do you any good whatsoever. We got this golf cap here. Sold for $8, headed to Chesterfield, Michigan. Sherwin-Williams. So first and foremost, get the emotions out of the game. Figure things out. Figure out what's going to work for you and what you need to do to make it work. If you're all in, or this is something that you want to do 100%, turn off the emotions. Make it work. Figure it out. Change things. Find things. Dude, running a business is not easy. It's never been easy. Finding items. Finding a source for the items. Paying the right price for the items. What items to buy. It's not easy. It's never been easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Everybody's trying to do it. Everybody's been trying to do it since COVID. But it's not working for everybody and won't work for everybody. Because even after you get started, there's a lot more that goes into it. To keep yourself motivated. How do you do that? My question would be, first off, is what are you doing it for? Are you doing it because you don't want to work for somebody else and you want to be lazy? Because you've already failed. You're going to work harder for yourself. You're going to work 80 hours. You're going to give up 40 hours for somebody else to work 80 hours for yourself. You're going to work harder because you're not just doing one job anymore, getting paid and going home and sitting down watching TV and eating bonbons. You're working 5, 6 different jobs in one. You're working 12, 14, 16 hours a day. But the thing is, if you enjoy it, you're not working. If you enjoy what you do, you don't work a day in your life. Why is my print button not highlighted? That's weird. So if you don't enjoy this, it's going to be work to you. And it's going to be more work than working for somebody. When you work for somebody, you just have to follow A to B. That doesn't exist when you're running your own business. You have to create the A and B, the A to B, before you can even fall into a game plan to do A and B. You have to figure out what A and B is. You're basically starting a math problem with just a bunch of mumbled numbers. The math problem is not there for you to just go ahead and work on. So you have to find the right equation that's going to create your success. So if you can't find that equation, then you're already behind the 8 ball. What does that equation include? Like I've said before, product. You make your money when you buy that product. How consistent can you get that product? That's the first steps. And then there's steps beyond that, systems within that equation. So not only are you coming up with the equation, you've got to figure out the systems within that equation. Parentheses, multiplication, division, subtraction, addition. What do I do? Where do I put it? How does it work? You have to figure all that out. Whoops, I hit the wrong button. Well, maybe I already did it and I just didn't. Go back and find this. See, I'm talking and I think I messed up and I didn't get my sheet printed. Either that or it's not working. It's I probably clicked on something wrong. Scan folder. Okay, yeah, so I already had done it, so I goofed up. So what are you doing it for? Me? That's easy for me. Most of you already know that. You know my upbringing, where I came from, and I'm not going back. I spent my life trying to figure out. I spent the first 30 years of my life. Whoops. Okay, I didn't pull that. First 30 years of my life trying to figure out what to do to get out of the ghetto, this inner city where I was raised, to get out of having to live in a 3-room apartment, eating bologna sandwiches. I spent 30 years trying to figure out how to get out of that. So if you think I'm going to let myself down after hunting for something for 30 years and finally finding it, I'm going to figure it out. And for 23 years, I've figured it out. I've done it. That's why the past 2-3 years dealing with the problems on eBay affected me so much, because I put 30 years into figuring this out, finding my happy. And I'm not letting the happy go without a huge fight. So if I have to fight eBay themselves, I'm going to do that, because this is my happy place. Took me 30 years to get here. Took me 23 more to build it. I ain't letting that shit go. All right, we got an Italy. We got an Australia. It ain't happening. It's just not. What's after this for me? Retirement. If I can't do this, I'm done. I've done my happy. Anything else would be disappointing to me. I'm sure I could probably find something, but I might have to spend another 30 years trying to figure that one out. First up, The Firm, Mean Business on Vinyl. So for $4.50, headed to Mill Hall, Pennsylvania. So what are you doing it for? Once you have that answer, and you have the correct answer there, then it's pretty easy to stay motivated because you can remember that reason. If you've had it easy your whole life, or you didn't have to struggle, it may be harder for you to find something. But you have to figure it out. You have to find out, why do you want to do this? Is it so you can stay home with your kids? Well, guess what? It just got harder for you. Because it's very easy to get distracted with real life, but yet you're building something needs your full attention also. Baby Animals VHS tape sold for $6, headed to Ohio. As most of you know, I raised 2 boys while I started this, from age 10 and age 3, getting them where they needed to go, doing the things that they needed to do. I still remember taking Adrian to the post office with me to drop stuff off. Everybody always loved Adrian because he was so... This is when at the beginning, when I'm in the front and I took stuff up before, like stamps and all this you could do online, and they'd have to do it all up front. And they all loved Adrian because he was so well behaved as 3 and 4 year old, 5 year old and stuff. Because they'd have other kids come in just, causing a ruckus, and Adrian was always just nice and polite, because that's the way I raised him. So not only did I build a business, I raised, and Alex was mad at the world because his dad wasn't around. His dad didn't really seem to accept him because he didn't play sports. Alex was mad at the world. So not only did I have come into a 3 and a 10-year-old's life to start raising them because their mom's at work, I had to take a 10-year-old and figure out how to change it so he doesn't hate life. Because there was, at the beginning, I was worried. This kid is just mad at the world. This is what breeds problem adults, right? Or high school shooters, or you know what I mean? Like, when you got a child who hates the world, you got to figure out how to make him enjoy the world. Because if you don't, it's going to be ugly, not just for him and your family. It could affect other people in the future. And so not only was I building a business, I was starting with a 3-year-old and a 10-year-old that hated the world. And I've got 2 successful boys now, and they are my boys. I got 2 successful men now, and I've got a successful business. And it wasn't easy. Dexter. But if you want something bad enough, you're going to make it work. You're going to figure it out. Sitting around doing nothing is not... I stand 12, 14, 16 hours a day working. Stand. I may sit down for 30 minutes to eat something. I sit down to drive to the post office. And I don't sit down until I'm ready to watch TV at night when I'm done. I'm up on my feet up to 16 hours a day, working, figuring it out, doing things, staying motivated. Because this is me. This is me. James does not come without a basement full of junk. He don't. James does not come without, hey, there's a thrift store, we're stopping. Hey, there's a flea market, we're stopping. James does not come without that. Pride 97 sampler CD. Celebrating Gay Pride 97. There's a various artist compilations. Sold for $5, headed to Philadelphia. If you want something, you're going to be motivated for it. No matter how hard the work is. No matter if you feel like you're getting paid $2 an hour. Or at the beginning, $0 an hour. Lamont Dozier vinyl record. Sold for $16, headed to Brooklyn. Another thing that I think some people may, if you're not full dedicated into it, one way of knowing is, do you got a collection of stuff? Do you have a personal collection? If you have a personal collection and you're struggling, you're not dedicated. I used my personal collections to start this. 10,000 plus pieces of music, huge video game collection, a huge toy collection, you could just say, from Toy Story to clearance toys from stuff I used to buy, clearance toys for music, movies, things like that, video games. It was all in when I started. So if you have a collection around you and you're complaining that you can't get no sales, guess what? Sacrifice. Because here's the thing. When you're successful, you can buy it back if you want it back. It's just stuff. Stuff's replaceable. The only things I kept, and I didn't keep them all, I kept most of them, are my video game consoles. Because I knew one day, I had tens of thousands of video games. I knew one day if I wanted to start playing video games toward the end of my life, that, hey, I got the consoles, all I need to do is start buying games again. But if I ever had to sacrifice those systems, they would be sacrificed. Because I can rebuy them if I need to. And a little tip, if you're not there yet, I don't miss any of the stuff that I sacrificed. Because I found something greater than that stuff. I found happiness. I found happiness with nothing. As opposed to happiness with stuff. Def Leppard Power Mania cassette. So for $6, headed to Topeka, Kansas. When you find happiness without stuff, there's the stuff, but it's not my stuff. Nothing beats that. Again, that may be easier for somebody like me who never had stuff at the beginning. Well, then again, I don't know. I attached myself to stuff because I never had it. So when I was able to get it, this was like, oh, I got something here. So maybe for me, it was a little bit harder, actually. Because when I had that stuff, I didn't feel poor. Yeah, some of the music, most of it was probably free or bought cheap at the music store that I worked at. All the toys and stuff, bought clearance, video games, mostly clearance stuff. But it was a huge collection, and I didn't feel poor. And it generated tens of thousands of dollars for me to start the business with. But I wanted the happiness of doing something that I enjoy doing over that stuff. Got Yes on vinyl. Sold for $8, headed to Orlando, Florida. What keeps me motivated today? Well, obviously the foundation that I just talked about, where I came from. But how do I do it today? And a lot of that just has to do with systems and knowing how you work best. You've got to know yourself when it comes down to stuff like that. You got to know how you react to things. You got to pay attention to you. I know I'm a person that needs consistent changes because doing the same old routine gets old for me very quick. Very quick. So I had to create systems where I could change it, but it still worked just as efficient as efficient. Where I could do, breaking your system down into steps and making those steps reversible and interchangeable. So you could do any one at any time and you're still moving the progress forward. So knowing how you work mentally would be the next step. Understanding, can you get it? I can't get into a focus and go. I can't. And a lot of times, another thing, a lot of it has to do with my body. Like my back will start hurting or my leg will start hurting or I'll get the little nerve pain. So most of my days consist of ibuprofen because it takes away that pain that's going on, and I'm like, know that's there. So when it's gone, I'm able to focus better on what I'm actually doing. Another thing, I know how I am in my surroundings. So if you're going to be in a space that's not outside for 12, 14, 16 hours a day, every day, you've got to create the environment that works for you. Like when you watch Tekken Sports, he's got white walls. That would not work for me. For somebody who may get distracted easily, well, I get distracted easily. I don't understand the white walls, but I understand that some people may, that might be their way of eliminating the distractions. Where me, adding color, adding pops, adding surrounding, having my train video going, that's what stimulates my mind and keeps me moving. If I don't have that, I'm just going to be a depressed mess at the end of the day and go, God, I hate what I'm doing. I'm just standing in this blank white room doing the same thing over and over again. Is my life worth that? For me, it wouldn't work. For others, it may. So you got to figure out how your mind works. And that stuff matters. 100% does. I'm going to redo this because I didn't fold it correctly because I wasn't paying attention. That stuff matters. Your surroundings, at least for me. And I would guess I'm not the only one. But your senses matter. What you see, what you smell, all that matters to stimulate your brain. Whether it's positive or negative, it all affects you somehow. So if you can figure out how to use your senses to your advantage to keep you motivated, to keep you happy, to keep you content, whatever the case may be, figure that out. That might be one of the most underused things within a business. I never hear anybody talking about that, but it may be something I need to talk about. We got Sinatra CD sold for $5, headed to Oakland, California. Animals. Are they a distraction? Or are they comfort? For me, they're comfort. They're happiness. They make me smile. When I see them flop on their back and be all comfy and happy, that warms my heart. Makes me feel good. Makes life worth living, if you will. Not to that extreme, but you know what I mean. For others, it may be a distraction. Depending on your dog, depending on your animal, depending on the situation. There's so many variables that go into to manage your ambition, to manage your motivation, to manage your level of happiness for the day. There's so much that goes into that. If you have a smell in your house that's annoying you and it's always there, chances are you're going to know it. You're going to, even if you don't address it, you know it's there and it's affecting you somehow. Well, get some Febreze out. Woo! There's so many different little nuances that you can do to motivate yourself. Maybe you hang a picture above your desk of an inspirational quote or a person or a figure or a car, something of that nature. I used to do that. I used to put cars that I wanted up on my wall. I mean, we did that as kids growing up, whatever too. So why not bring that into the business? Man, one day I'd like to have a Corvette. Boom. Guess what? I've had a Corvette. Ooh, that new Dodge Charger's coming out. I want to get that Dodge Charger. Boom, let's put that up there. I got the first new Dodge Charger that came out. Blood and Crips. Disc only. Sold for $24. Headed to Fort Worth, Texas. Use everything within your power to your advantage. Do not see it. That's broken. Do not seal this, James. The Elders CD. Sold for $5. Headed to Connecticut. And I guess the final, the final thing, what keeps me motivated, because eBay's such a mess, is now at this point, I know it's not me. I know it's not my items that so many people try to say it is. I know that because I've had 3 weeks of great sales. And now all of a sudden, after an update and with all the errors that show me, and there's been consistent over the last 3 years, when there's errors, when there's system failures, when there's server failures, I have poor sales. After 3 years of data, I can 100% stand here and say, it's not me, it's not my damn items, it's 100% eBay that's causing the problems. So with my situation, and this is only my situation because that's the one I know all the details about, all the data about for 3 years plus, the only one I can 100% say is a problem, like with somebody like Josh Galt. I know what he sells, I know what he does, I know what he prices stuff at. So when he says there's a problem, it may not be 100% I can say, yes, he's right, but it's going to be 99.9% chance when I say he's right. Whereas me, it's 100% chance it's right, because I know more about Josh's situation than I do, say, you who's watching right now, that I don't even know what your store name is. You know what I mean? So I can say 100% with my situation, my store, my product, it is 100% eBay that's causing the problems with my setup. So how do I stay motivated? I know that it's not going to last forever, because I will have pops of greatness. I will have pops where I have a week with no server failures. Guess what? I had $922 a day on the week that I didn't get no server failures until the end of the week when it started. And then guess what? Shut down, and now this week's shit. Patterns. So I know it's not forever. Shouldn't be forever anyway. How long it goes, I don't know, and I don't want to think about that. I just know that there will be pops of when it's working properly. So I want to take my pops when it's working properly from $922 a day to $1,500 a day to $2,000 a day. So when I do get that pop is going up. For 3 weeks, my pop went up. And now we're back down to nothing again, almost starting over. But I know it's there. I know it will come again. That's what keeps me motivated today to just go, go, go. Plus the fact that I've built something that at least pays my bills. It pays me money. And I don't have to stress about it. So that helps too on top of it. But that was years and years of dedication, hard work, figuring it out. And that might be where you're at now. You've got to figure it out. And like I said, it's a lot harder to do today when you have a website and a platform that don't work properly. I get that. And I will probably be the biggest reseller on YouTube that will tell you that, because a lot of them don't want to touch it because it doesn't fall into their pay prescription, stay positive plan. Mine's not about, mine's reality. It's stay positive, but here are the problems. Let's figure the problems out also. I'm not pulling wool over your eyes. I'm telling you exactly what the fuck's going on. And this is what I'm doing to try to figure out how we can get around this problem, as opposed to just saying, well, buy better items and the problem won't exist. Bullshit. All right, last US one. We've got Musicians for Minneapolis CD. Sold for $5, headed to Maryland. I left a comment on Tech and Sports video the other day. I forgot to even go back to see if anybody responded, or if he even responded. Because people would come onto my channel and say, it's your items, you know. If you listen to Tech and Sports, blah, 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 it's your items that's doing it. So I went on to his channel and I left on one of his videos where he was kind of just saying that kind of same stuff. And somebody said he was kind of pointed me out on that video, but I don't know if he physically pointed me out or if that person just indicated that what he was saying fits my bill. It could have been something like that. I didn't watch the video. But anyway, I went there and go, I think you're doing your viewers a disservice by not acknowledging that there are problems with the website. Because if you keep giving everybody all this information that, oh, you buy better product, you buy better this, you do this, and you do that, and it's all going to work 100%. Well, that's false. It's not going to work 100%. It may only be working 75%. And for some, that 25% difference is going to be failure or success, depending on the work that they put in, or the details and nuances of figuring it out, of staying motivated, whatever the case may be. That 25% can fail a lot of people. So I'm going to give you 100% of everything. And if I was selling a plan, I would do the damn same thing. Actually, I'd probably charge you more because I'm putting in a lot more work trying to figure it out. I ain't just blowing smoke up your ass with common phrases. And that's no disrespect to anybody who's doing that. I'm just saying I would be doing it different. Mike. Boo-doo-boo-boo-boo. Ooh, that could be a good thumbnail. I ain't blowing smoke up your ass. I like that. I gotta jot that down and remember that. I ain't blowing smoke up your ass. These internationals don't have to go out till tomorrow. There's only 2 of them, so I'll do those later. I got a couple items to resurface. And I'm off to the post office. And if you've made it this far and you like anything that I've said here, please hit that like button. Please leave a comment. Help the video out. Help my channel out. I'd appreciate it. I don't charge you guys a damn thing. So please just give me a like. And an emoji comment or something. That's all I ask. And most of the time I don't even ask that. I only do it when I think about it. I usually never think about it. Alright. Oops, I got one that's open here somewhere. There we go. Alright, that's it for me. Alright. Hope you guys have a good day. And I will see you all. We will see you all in the next video. Later.